To the 2022 Candidate Forum, sponsored by the Smithville Area Chamber of Commerce. We also, of course, want to, as always, thank the City of Smithville for kindly providing this venue for us to host this Candidate Forum. And I certainly want to thank all of our candidates for being here this evening and being willing to participate in this very important forum. I want to, of course, welcome our moderator this evening, Micah Oliver, who is the branch manager for our Edward Jones affiliate here in Smithville. I will remind you before I turn it over to Micah that this is being broadcast live via Facebook on both the Chamber of Commerce Facebook page and the City of Smithville's library page. Please feel free to go on there afterwards, and it will be there as a recording. You can watch it, share it, anything you like. I'll also remind you that early voting begins April 25th. Early voting ends May 3rd, and Election Day is May 7th. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over now to Micah Oliver, who will explain the rules and get us started. Micah.
Thank you, April, and I'm very glad to be here with you all tonight. I'm very excited the Chamber does this for the community of Smithville, and what a great day to be in Smithville, Texas. I spent my day in Bastrop, and so it was really nice to get back here because everybody knows this town's way better. So a little bit about me. My wife and I live in Rosenke. We have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old that are going to go to school here in Smithville fairly soon. Our 4-year-old will start in the next year and a half, so I'm very excited to hear what everybody on the school board has to say today running for election. And then also my business is here, so I'm very excited to hear about the mayoral race and from our student council. I'm sorry, our city council, not student council. Let's get off that. Yeah, they just look really, really young. So the process today is what we're going to do is we're going to start out with, everybody's going to have about 2 minutes to give us a little introduction about yourself. So of course I'll read it in depth here in a second. After that, we'll go into question 1, and we're going to work our way all the way down the line. So everybody will have an opportunity to answer question 1, and then the next time around, we will do question 2, but the person who went second the first time will go first the second time, okay? So in this example, we'll start with Tom, but the next time around, we'll start with you, Sharon. Sound good? All right. Now there's a lot of us, and there are 2 questions each, plus we have an opening comment and a closing comment, and we want to make sure that everybody has their fair time. So I'm going to time you. These nice shiny folders here, you're going to see this yellow one go up at 30 seconds. And the red one's going to go up when you have 10 seconds left. So that means wrap it up, because unfortunately I will have to cut you guys off, okay? I don't want to be rude, but I will be, so we get everybody plenty of time, all right? Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so for all candidates, so Tom, if you want to work your way up. Question 1 is, please tell us about yourself. What office you are seeking, why you are seeking this specific office, and your qualifications to fill this office. And again, Tom, you will have 2 minutes for this question.
Okay, thank you, Micah. As I told several people, don't start the clock quite yet. As I told several people, I would much rather be doing this ad hoc, but I could not stay on 90 seconds and 2 minutes if I didn't read from Mark. What's the problem? Is it not on?
It is, but just get closer to it.
Okay, how about now?
No.
Better?
No. It's not as good as this.
How about now?
No.
Is that good?
No.
Okay. Good evening, my name is Tom Etheridge and I'm one of the candidates for mayor. Before I tell you a little bit about myself, I'd like to thank the Chamber for supporting this event. I also want to thank the other candidates here who have demonstrated their commitment to Smithville in the past and their present service, as well as their willingness apparently to serve in the future. I especially want to thank each of you here tonight and those watching remotely for your participation. As Thomas Jefferson noted, we in America do not have government by the majority. We have government by the majority who participate. So thank you each and all for participating. I hope that participation extends to the voting booth. My wife Debbie and I moved here several years ago. We currently live at the end of Ramona Street next to Dorothy Richards. I grew up in a small central Texas town, Pflugerville, not so small anymore. Debbie grew up actually in New England, but she spent most of her adult life in Texas. We have a daughter and a son-in-law who live on Byrne with their 2 young boys, Breck, 4 years old, and Callum is 2. Debbie's parents, Don and Virginia, live in a house that we renovated on Gresham. My professional business career spans about 37 years, concentrated mostly in banking, real estate, and natural resources. Within those sectors, I've held a variety of leadership positions, both at publicly traded and privately owned companies. In those positions, I accumulated a number of years of broad business experience, including areas of strategic planning, team building, collaboration, and consensus building. I'm a former member of the Smithville Planning and Zoning Commission. I see some of my former colleagues here. And I'm also one of your current city council members. I graduated from St. Edward's University in Austin with an honors degree in economics, and also am a graduate of Southwest Graduate School of Banking. I believe my experience and skill sets are well suited for the office, and I'm excited about the possibilities. Thank you.
Great timing, Tom. Thank you. That's it. All right, so Sharon, it'll be the same question for you. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, the office you're seeking, why you were seeking this office, and your qualifications to fill this office.
Hello to everyone, and thank you, Chamber, for hosting this as you do every year to make everybody be informed. Is that better? To help everybody be informed of everybody running for a position here. Hi, I'm Sharon Forrester, and I'm proud to announce my candidacy for mayor of a town that we all know and love, our town of Smithville, Texas. I am a lifelong resident of Bastrop County. I am a partner in a business development venture and a realtor here in Smithville. There are many attributes that make Smithville great. We need leadership that is familiar with our area and capable of moving Smithville into the changes we will see right before our eyes. Growth is not just coming, it has arrived. We must embrace what makes our community unique and keep the small town look, feel, and charm. Our citizens must actively support our local businesses. We need to attract investors that will share our vision for growth in our community. We need to encourage volunteerism, which is the heart of Smithville. For those of you here tonight who know me, and for those who might not, I hope that you will know two things about me in this race to be your mayor. I am honest and hardworking, and with your help on Election Day, we can move Smithville successfully into the future. Thank you.
And Margarita, same question for you, please. A little bit about yourself, the office you're seeking, and why the specific office.
Hello, thank you all for being here. My name is Margarita and I am running for the Smithville ISD, Place C. I was born in Mexico and I moved to America when I married my husband Daniel. We have 3 children, one in college, one in high school, and one in junior high. We have lived in Bastrop for 17 years, the last 10 years in Smithville. My love and appreciation for this country grew when I became a citizen of this country, and that is why I'm running for a school board. I feel called to show my gratitude towards the American people in our community by serving in this manner. According to our American Foundation, the qualifications to fill a public office are love God, love your country, love your community, value education. I have all of these qualifications, plus I have the experience of raising 3 children. I will bring the experience of a mom that cares deeply about the children of Smithville to the board. That is why I have been involved in this school district for over 7 years. And I have learned what needs to be strengthened and improved. I am also bilingual in this, and this brings diversity to the school board. Thank you.
Josh, you good with the question?
I am.
All right.
Thank you, Micah, and thank you, everybody, for giving us a little bit of your time tonight. It's a pleasure to see a lot of familiar faces here, and I'm glad to get the chance to talk a little bit about this. I'm Josh Magdon, and I'm 44 years old. I'm running for Place 6 on the school board here in Smithville. We have 3 kids, all of whom are exemplary behavior tonight in the back row, and it's exciting to let them be a part of this and see what's going on here in Smithville for their school district. Liz and I have been married for almost 20 years. We lived in Texas for 10. We moved here 5 years ago from Manor because the growth in Manor was just getting out of hand. We wanted to raise our kids in a small school district like we had grown up in. She grew up in a small district in Iowa, I in Arizona, and we really valued that. And more importantly, we talked to a lot of people. She works with a number of folks at MD Anderson who grew up here, moved back here to raise their families in this community because they thought so highly of the school district and of the community. I do believe, that it's important to note all three of these kids, they're in three different campuses. I see all three campuses every morning when I drop them off. I get the chance to cross the railroad tracks multiple times, which, is sometimes a big risk. Haven't had to call the office yet and tell them why they're late, but it is something that I get to do a lot. And I do think that public education is extremely important for our community, for our kids. It's the biggest single investment that we make on our tax bills each and every year when we write that check to the county. And so in our lives, we look at this and say, public education has been really good to Liz and I, very important to our families. My mother was a math teacher for almost 20 years, and I worked in public finance for almost a decade, working with superintendents, school boards, on big projects, bond projects, capital projects in those communities. It's transformational. And so I think that this is something that I will bring a lot of experience and value to as a board member. So thank you.
Michael, thank you.
Hello, hopefully I'm loud enough. My mom always yelled at me a lot when I was younger for being too loud, so I told her one day that it would come in handy, but she didn't believe me. So I'm Michael Hancock. I am running for school board trustee, place number 7. I'm a third generation graduate of the Smithville school system. My wife is a third generation graduate here. We have 6 kids currently, 5 of them currently in the school system, one about to graduate next year, and we'll have a senior and a kindergartner. So we have enjoyed living here our whole lives. We've lived here our whole lives, both of us. We have deep roots, and we just enjoy coming out here and being a part of the community. I work for First National Bank of Bastrop. I'm the chief credit officer there. I've had, for the last 10 years, I have 20 years in banking. I graduated from Texas State while working at First National Bank. I have a BBA in accounting, MBA, and I'm also a CPA. I also got to spend 4 years traveling around the state working for Texas Association of School Business Officials. Traveling around the state working with different many CEOs, CFOs, superintendents along the way, and many other business officials, learning a broad perspective around the state of what is important in the school and what is important, different things. It was good times to learn, and I enjoyed learning, and I appreciate everybody coming out, and thank you, April, and the Chamber for putting this on, and so we can all learn about all the different candidates here. Thank you.
My name is Casey Ainchie. I moved to Smithville or Bastrop County in 2008 and moved to Smithville 3 years ago. I'm from a small rural town, Moss Hill, Texas, where my dad was on the school board 20 years. My mom was a special education and special needs teacher for 30 plus years. I had a grandma that was a librarian and a teacher also for 30 plus years. I work for a company that travels. I cover all of West Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma for my company building substations. I have 10 supervisors and 49 employees that I have to oversee all the man hours and the budgets to make sure everything comes in under all of that, and make sure we don't go over budget so that we can make money at the company. And I have a 7-year-old son that goes to school here in Smithville. Me and my wife own Rising Phoenix Adventures Tours and Events here in Bastrop County. We're getting ready to open a location also here in Smithville, right behind the VFW on the river there. And that's about all I have. I want to thank everybody for coming out, and all the other candidates for showing up too. Thank you.
Hello everyone, thank y'all for coming this evening once again. My name is Dane Garrison. I'm married to a beautiful wife and 3 wonderful children, Ashley Garrison. I'm the current owner of Daddy's Lawn Service and Honeydews, and I'm seeking the office of City Council Place 4. I've had 5+ years of experience helping cities, counties, and states recover from declared disasters. I've worked recoveries such as Hurricane Ike, the city of Houston, Texas, to the Comanche Nation in Lawton, Oklahoma with an ice storm. Cedar River flooding in 2008, Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The city of Smithville has had their fair share of scares recently via fires, floods, tornadoes, etc. Disasters are not just about recovery, though, they're also about preparedness. And experience in these situations can be quite essential. Most importantly, I care about the city of Smithville. My mother taught here for over 22 years. I have so much pride for its direction. Whether we like it or not, we are growing. And one of our biggest challenges will be directing this growth positively while maintaining our small town antiquity. Those that surround us do not define us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dane. Next up, we have Cassie Barrientos.
Hello, good evening. My name is Cassie Barrientos. I'm running for City Council Place 4. I am a citizen of Smithville. I've lived here probably about, we're going on 9 years, over at a house next to Milton's. As most know, when you have an older house, you always remodel it, it never will end, and we've been doing that since we've been there. My husband is a long life citizen of Smithville. He's been here since he was 1 year old. With his dad, they live right over here, catty corner from Hubel's. I used to be on the city council in 2018 to 2020. I ran on me wanting to make sure that the growth that was coming, kind of exactly what Dane said, is that we're prepared for it and that we're ready to take on those challenges. And I feel that part of the things that we accomplished while we were on that council was great. Some of the things that we still actually, I helped vote for and we helped vote in is actually still in the process of being done, which is stuff that I'll address later. I have 2 great kids. One is 5, one is 3. They turned 6 and 4 this year, and then I actually have another on the way. I'm due in June. Part of why I didn't rerun in 2020 was because I actually wanted to spend more time with my children, because last time I ran I was also pregnant. So I guess maybe I do this when I'm pregnant. With that being said, I can say that I think that my experience with my business in the past, and then also as city council in the past, will prepare me to be able to continue the growth that we've been having and continue what I was doing before. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. It was very nice to hear from all of you. So the second question is going to be for all candidates. So this time, Sharon, I'll have you go to the podium first, and then we'll go to Tom, and then vice versa all the way down. So if you spoke first last time, you'll be speaking second this time. So Sharon, while you're working your way up, please describe in detail the community efforts, projects you have taken on, an active or leadership role in how many city council, school board meetings you have attended in the last 2 years. Let me say that again. Please describe in detail the community efforts and projects you have taken an active or leadership role in, and how many city council, school board meetings you have attended in the last 2 years.
Thank you, Micah. In the last 2 years, I've been on city council, and so I've attended all the meetings. I prepare for them weekly, or prepare for them monthly, and I enjoy the direction the city is going. I believe in being a volunteer in our community and working hard. I've been an active member of the Smithville Noons Lions Club, where I currently serve as president, and I'm going to give a little plug for our Lions Club because we have a hamburger fundraiser coming up April 30th, so be on the lookout for the flyers. I have been a member of the Smithville Area Chamber of Commerce since 2016. I currently serve as treasurer. I belong to the St. Mary's Catholic Church, where I have been a member for 56 years. I'm on the Jamboree Committee, one of our biggest tourism events here in Smithville. I am on the Bastrop Go Texan Committee. We were approached, me and my sister, after the pandemic, and the Go Texan group had kind of dispersed, and we were in the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo we were about to lose our scholarships here. And so that's about $40,000 that come back to Bastrop County students. And so we got back on the Go Texan Committee to raise money for our students here in Bastrop County to make sure the scholarships stay here from the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. I'm on Smala Williams Angels Unaware Ministry. We just finished our Empty Bowl Committee. We partner there with the Smithville Food Pantry, the Lost Pines Artisan Alliance, Community Gardens, the Angels Unaware, and the Community Clinic. And this year I accepted the challenge to get all people
Sorry,
to...
got you for me.
That's okay.
All right. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, and real quick, Tom, while you're on the way up, Marguerite, it's going to be Tom this time. Thank you. So we got some feedback, and they're not able to hear you on Facebook Live. We want to make sure that everybody that's not here has the opportunity to hear you. So if you have to hold the mic to project, that's fine, but we just need to get a little bit more volume out of you, please. And so, Tom, for you, same question. All right.
As I look around this room, there were at least 3 people that I would hate to follow for this question. One is Sharon Forrester, the other is Elaine Seidel, and the other is Janice Bruno, wherever Janice is. Anybody hear that? Oh, it's not on? Yeah, it is.
Just get real close to it.
Okay, how about this?
There we go.
Can we just pull it out?
Yeah.
Do I have to sing?
Don't be shy. And then dance.
Anyway, Debbie and I are both active supporters of a variety of community events and causes in town. A few notable examples include being an annual chamber sponsor and participating in the myriad of local events associated with that sponsorship. I never cease to be amazed at how many events April and all the volunteers in town can put on. Every Monday I go, what? There was that on Saturday and I missed it. We try to do what we can. We're proud to be active supporters of Smithville Clinic, the Workforce Training Center, the Food Pantry. Derek and SCX Golf Cart Club is amazing. Like Sharon, Angels Unaware Ministry, we're supporters of the Lions Club, Knights of Columbus. As I mentioned in my opening remarks, I previously served on Planning and Zoning Commission here. I'm currently a member of the City Council. While on the council, I'm proud to have worked with fellow council members, including Sharon and Janice, and I see our mayor here too, and City Manager Tamble to accomplish several significant items. A few of those include negotiating and executing an employment contract for the city manager, a budget that funded broad wage increases for a large number of our hourly city employees, as well as new equipment for the police department and Jack's Public Works Department. We updated the noise ordinance, and we also found funding for an annual 4th of July event. I've attended all the city council meetings while I've been a member, and then prior to that, most of them I think were Zoom, but I did, attend them all. And then I also consistently attend the Smithville Hospital Authority Board meeting.
Thank you, Tom.
Is that good?
That's good. Perfect. And Josh, we'll have you next.
Understood. We've been here, as I said, about 5 years, and every place that we've lived, I've volunteered. I've been part of something in the community, whether it's a community foundation or a family resource center, and here has been no different. Our kids are growing up, and as we moved into the community, every one of the last 5 years, I've coached probably 1 or more teams, usually about 2, because I get to stack the practices back to back and maximize our time over here. But I spend a lot of time coaching soccer and basketball through the rec program. They run a great program here. Flag football. I'm on the board of the Smithville Youth Football Association right now, and just a plug, since Sharon did that, we need players. I thought there'd be more young people here, I don't know why, but we need players, so sign up. I'm a big believer, though, that these team activities build kids' character and work ethic, and I think it's really important. So whether it's Scouts or FFA or the robotics team or band, the fact that the kids are involved in these things is really important. I love coaching them. It's a lot of fun for me because they learn so much, and you see them grow over the course of a short season. In terms of school board meetings and how many over the last couple of years, I try and attend when I can. The school district does a great job of putting these meetings online, right? They put all these meetings online, they put all the information online, and so whether I'm there in person or I watch online, as has been the case for the last couple of years, they make everything accessible. I feel extremely transparent in terms of what they're doing and how they're showing us in the community, us as parents, what their priorities are and what their decisions are. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Casey, we'll have you go next.
Margarita.
Oh, I'm sorry, Margarita. That's my fault, Casey. I apologize.
I have been employed by Community Action for over 4 years. My job includes recruiting and enrolling students that have dropped out of high school to attend GED classes, and those that have difficulty with English to attend ESL classes to strengthen their skills. I also recruit students to attend vocational classes that includes computer training. This helps the students become more productive members in our community and our workforce. I have been also a volunteer in Smithville ISD for over 7 years. I have been an active member of the SHAC for 4 years, that is our health advisory council. In the SHAC, I have been advocating for programs and curriculums that will benefit our children. I have spoken to school counselors, teachers, and board members to make sure that important issues are addressed by the board. I am also a member of Friends of the Smithville Public Library, and this allows me to voice ideas and concerns regarding the books that are purchased by our public library. I am also a member of the Smithville Whole Health Partnership, which includes involvement with the mayor and a member of the city council. I have attended every school board meeting in this school year, in addition to some Zoom meetings the school year before. This has given me the opportunity to see how the school board handles school matters.
All right, now Casey. And then if y'all may have noticed, I think I'm gonna let my phone be rude for me. So if y'all hear it beep, all right, y'all know. Okay.
I've attended probably in the last 2 years in person, 5 or 6 school board meetings and a few on Zoom. As far as the community goes, last year, me and another guy took 14 young kids to the Baptist church camp, and I knew 3 of the kids out of the 14. So that was an experience for me, and to be around that many little boys that I didn't know, and being off away from home and away from mamas, it's a real challenge. But it was a great experience, and I'm looking forward to going back with them again this year. And as far as any other community projects or anything, I haven't done anything else in the community. That's about all I've done is with the church, and I'm a member of CRCC Cowboy Church. Thank you.
I've had one of the greatest examples of community involvement I think anybody could ever have, and that was my grandma. She was involved in everything that you could be involved in, donated her time and baked goods and everything else to this community for many, many years. It's through that I've done that as well and tried to follow in her footsteps. My wife has also has put together 5Ks for about 9 or 10 years that helped raise money for local health things, medical examinations, which also provided scholarships for local school students. I organized about 10 years ago a not-for-profit baseball organization that has really helped a lot of kids reach their goals and challenge them to reach their goals. And I will continue to do that with my younger kids. I haven't attended any meetings here in the last 2 years. I have a great relationship with the superintendent, Miss Cheryl Burns. She actually taught me biology my freshman year. So there's numerous times that we have had many conversations about different things, challenges, and opportunities that our school district can overcome and look forward to in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. All right, Cassie, we'll have you take this one first. Cassie and baby.
Thanks. Alrighty. So a few of the community efforts projects that I've taken an active leadership role in. I don't want to say leadership as much as I've just taken an active role in it, is Noon's Lions Club. I've been a part of them since 2020, 2021. Like I've said before, I was on city council from 2018 to 2020. I am a member of First Baptist Church, so I do a lot of different events with them, and we give back to them as much as possible. Me and my husband sponsor as many chamber events as we can by giving back donations, whether or not that's for the annual casino night or any other things like that. Angels Unaware is one of my favorite charities, Samela Williams, Angels Unaware, and so we give to them as often as we can. I like to help with many events. I do know that we are lucky that we know so many people around the community that we get asked a bunch, as well as my husband is part of the board member for the Workforce Commission. So we are lucky that we are able to be out there and support everybody as much as we can. As for city council meetings, I haven't been to too many the last couple years. Obviously, I was at them every single one before that. But I have been keeping up to date with everything. I still have relationships with a bunch of different council members currently, the mayor, as well as Robert Tamble. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassie. All right, Dane.
I do my best to get involved in as many community efforts as possible. Being friends with Sharon obviously is not appropriate. You're part of everything if you're friends with Sharon. But fundraisers from the help the fire department, CASA, SISD, Boy Scouts, golf cart, mulch for the Boy Scouts. It doesn't matter, but just every opportunity you get can help out locally. It's actually a passion of mine to have my family out and about and the kids involved so that we carry this on as well to the youth. On the backside of that, as far as meetings involved, due to the recent havocs of COVID, I've attended very few meetings over the last 2 years. We have viewed several Zoom versions, but it's definitely not the same. I hope to attend many more over the next 2 years, though. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Thank you all. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and get into the mayoral questions. We're going to start with question 1. So Tom, I'll have you make your way up, please. And we're going to take just a second to remind everybody that April 25th starts early voting. So again, that's April 25th, early voting, and then regular voting is May 7th. So make sure you mark those on your calendars. I'll tell you 100 more times before the night's over. So Tom, as you work your way up, this question will be for you and Sharon both. In your opinion, what are Smithville's 2 greatest strengths and 2 greatest weaknesses? How do we maximize or overcome those?
All right, it's a great question. Companies and organizations ask themselves that question a lot, and for good reason. In our case here in Smithville, I think we have a number of significant strengths. I'd like to give you a bonus one tonight and highlight 3. Number 1, I think we have a diverse population. Number 2, we have a portfolio of valuable community assets. And 3, we have a talented and dedicated city workforce. Here in Smithville, we enjoy a diverse population, one with a rich heritage and heavily influenced by the arts community. This diversity not only presents an attractive place for us to live and enjoy, but it's also attractive to people looking to relocate here, either to live or for businesses. We have a portfolio of very valuable community assets, assets that I believe can, should, and will be more fully leveraged and utilized in the coming years, to the benefit of all of us here and to those that have yet to arrive. Key examples of these community assets are the airport, Riverbend Park, the hospital complex, the Colorado River, the former MD Anderson Research Facility, and our historic Main Street District. We have a talented and dedicated city workforce. To have a city manager with the business acumen and experience like ours is very unusual, especially for a town with only 5,000 people. He and his team of department heads and employees consistently serve the community at a high level. We must be thoughtful and diligent to ensure that we continue to support and reward them and maintain high quality performance as we scale to a larger city. I would suggest 2 weaknesses. Can I get the 2 weaknesses? I'll give you some time back.
5 seconds.
Okay. 2 weaknesses. One is the fear of change, and the second is falling behind the growth curve. And the first one drives the second one. If we're afraid of change, we're going to fall behind, and the growth is going to get past us, and we're going to be playing catch up.
Thank you, Tom. As a reminder, we have 90 seconds for these questions. That was a 90-second question. So Sharon, we'll pose the same question to you. For 90 seconds, in your opinion, what are Smithville's 2 greatest strengths and 2 greatest weaknesses? How do we maximize or overcome them?
This is really a question that you put stuff on paper, you mark it out, you read it, and you're 4 minutes long. So, in a nutshell, the best strengths Smithville has is the people who live here and make this town what it is today. The people of Smithville give this town its unique look, feel, and charm that attracts other people to want to move here. We have many people who volunteer here and look forward to attracting new volunteers. It is my intention to work with investors who share our vision to keep our town unique's look, feel, and charm. And we have tons of assets here. Our airport, we're the only airport in Bastrop County, and it is maintained very well. So is this where I insert, we have a fly-in on May 14th, and if you've never been out to, if you have never come out to the fly-in, you need to, because come see what Smithville has to offer, and so many people bring so many different things in. Our Colorado River, it is a natural resource that runs through this town, and you can't help but want to jump in, bring your kayak. Now we have a kayak group in the Colorado River, but I haven't joined them yet. We have multiple parks. I was going to list all 11 of them, but I think I left one off. So we have art, we have music. We can maximize them by advertising and bringing more people to our community. It's hard to find a weakness here, I know. Okay.
I think time is our weakness tonight, Sharon. Thank you. All right. Great job. You did great. Okay. All right, so next we're going to go into our school board candidates. So Margarita, we'll start with you. And while Margarita works her way up, for 90 seconds per candidate, what are the greatest challenges facing Smithville ISD and how do we overcome them? So this one is just challenges.
There are 2 greatest challenges, teacher retention and growth. The solution for teacher retention is to challenge the superintendent to raise teacher salaries by 10%. To make teachers' retention a priority, the board needs to make it an agenda item, something it is addressed, and we get an update and a report each and every month. But if you go back to the past, if you remember, candidates have been talking about this greatest challenge. This is a problem for Smithville ISD, teachers' retention. And they have been talking that it is a challenge, but until today, nothing has been done. So as a board member, I will sit in that board and I will ask for a monthly agenda item to address pay for our teachers and teachers' retention. Solution number 2 for the teachers' retention is parent involvement program. It's so vital that parents get involved in the education of their children. In fact, positive connection between parents and teachers have been shown to improve children's academic achievement, social competencies, and emotional well-being. Do you want a solution for behavior in students? A parental involvement program is your solution. Not having teachers being in charge of raising our students, that's our job. With the parents, they're the teachers. Let's help them.
Thank you, Margarita. All right, Josh, same question to you. What are the greatest challenges facing SISD and how do we overcome them?
Thank you, Micah. And you know, there's a lot of big issues facing public education, facing schools in Texas. And we'll talk about teacher pay in the next question. I think the 3 biggest challenges that the school district faces right now are teacher retention and their job satisfaction. There's a lot of principals and a lot of teachers leaving the profession. The last couple of years have been incredibly taxing on them. And I think the school board's done a good job of trying to address that with some supplemental wage increases. The biggest wage increase the school district's ever had for teachers, I believe, is 7.5%. So 10% is a stretch goal for sure, but you know, our teachers are undervalued and sometimes underpaid. The other 2 goals or challenges that I see for the district are the growth that the community is going to face. And that's something that I think whomever is on city council, the school board and the city council are going to have to work hand in glove to address issues like affordability of housing, teacher housing. Those are things that matter when people are moving to the district. So the growth is going to create a strain on teachers and facilities. The third challenge is that the state has mandates, and we sometimes are faced with do we agree with that or don't we? I promise you as a school board member, if it's not in the best interest of our district and our school kids, I'm going to push back when and where I can. We're not going to take state mandates if it's not in the best interest of our kids if we can help it. So we'll address teacher pay in a second, but I think the important thing is that the collaboration is going to matter a lot between this school board and the challenges we face and what the community is going to see for results. Thank you.
All right, Michael, you're next. Thank you.
Well, I think we're all in agreement. Growth and staffing are going to be our biggest challenges. The last couple of chamber meetings I went to, I believe there was 200 homes coming in the next 2 or 3 years. That's a lot of homes for a small community. If you take an average of 1.5 students per home, that's 300 kids. Where do you put those kids? It will take collaboration between the mayor, between the student council, and the school board all around to work to have a little bit of controlled growth. I think growth is a great thing, but we will have to have some controlled growth so we don't pop the school district's facilities. We already did a bond, and most likely if we continue to grow like they're projecting, we'll have to do some more, so that the community will have to understand that as well. Staffing is an issue everywhere, in every industry. As Josh said, there are droves of teachers leaving the industry, overworked, overstaffed. They're not just teachers. They're counselors, they're moms, they're dads, they're best friends, and it is a struggle to overcome that, and we've got to do better, and we can do better. There's opportunities out there to grow that. Maybe there's ability to do some consulting work for old retired teachers and bring them back into and just do maybe 1 or 2 classes at a time or something like that. But I think there's opportunities out there.
Thank you, Michael. All right, Casey, same question.
I'm just going to kind of reiterate what these other guys and ladies have been saying. The hardest deal for us, I believe, is going to be teacher retention and the pay. And there's several ways that you could go about the pay for the retention of the teachers. The STARS test, you could make an incentive to the teachers. If all of their kids make 80 to 90%, you could give them a $1,500 raise the following year. But somebody's going to have to monitor that, the principals, VI, somebody, to make sure they're not just teaching the STARS test, that they're still teaching the other academics as well. And that would be a challenge as well. But I mean, I don't know exactly how Smithville's pay is for teachers, but another deal the state offers is what they call a career ladder. And after so many years, you have to make so much money. They could implement that career ladder for the teachers to make more money as well. The growth is going to be a big issue, I believe, as well, just like everybody else, and we're going to have to make sure that, that we don't overgrow our schools. I mean, if you look at the high school level, we're already kind of overgrowing there. Even the younger kids in the smaller schools. My little boy's already changed from one school to another school this year, right in the middle of the year, which is kind of hard on kids. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, this next round of questions will be for our city council candidates. So Dane, we'll start with you. As you work your way up, as citizens, how can we best support city council and municipal government as a whole, and what would you do to make it easier to communicate with the city council members directly? For example, regular forums, newsletter, e-blast, or etc. 90 seconds.
Thank you, Micah. More than anything, ladies and gentlemen, get involved. Get involved. Show up to the forums. Ask questions. At all city council meetings, I see open opportunities to speak, and if there is something on your mind, that is the perfect opportunity to say such. You need to make yourself heard. I don't mind ever taking the time to listen to one's opinion or view. We have a small community, and solving issues is not a solo job by any means. However, we can be in touch without blasting one another via social networks. A lot of these have family and friends involved, and you're not just affecting the person, you're affecting everything that surrounds them. I believe, in my opinion, one of the most respectable notes is an email. An email sent because wherever I'm at, I can stop and read and take an initiative from it. But it does, it takes a village to run this thing, not just one. Thank you.
right, Cassie, same question, please. How can the citizens of Smithville support the city council?
So from past experiences and then also just from even before when I ran, talking, y'all. Talking, and just asking the questions is the way that you're able to do it. Getting involved is a huge part, but if you just ask the questions, I guarantee you there is not one person on city council currently. There wasn't a lot of city council people before, and that would not talk to you. I can tell you that I did little things called Cassie's Car Chronicles on Facebook Live, and I had people ask me questions all the time on there whenever they would watch it, or they would come back and ask questions. I did a few newspaper articles inside of our newspaper. It was called Cassie's Corner, and Andy Sevilla helped me set up with that, and people were able to come and talk to me about that. The biggest thing that people don't understand about city council and school board is there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that most people don't understand. So if they just asked us, we would be more than happy to be able to say, hey, you know what, let's sit down and talk about that. Or, you know, let's go have a cup of coffee down at Old World Bakery, or a drink over at the Front Room Wine Bar, and we can go ahead and talk about that. And that way everybody's actually informed. So being informed and not being one of those Facebook warriors, unfortunately, is the best way to do that, because being a keyboard warrior doesn't help with anything. It just starts a bunch of arguments and a bunch of fights. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Cassie and Dane. I've got to say, you guys are doing great on time, so we're going to keep that going. And this is also a 90 seconds, so we're going to go back to our mayoral candidates at this point. Sharon, we'll have you up first. And as you make your way up to the podium, your question is, what are your priorities and goals for growth along the Highway 71 corridor? So again, what are your priorities and goals for growth along the Highway 71 corridor?
There is so much potential for growth. I don't know, does it work? Is it working?
Everybody in Facebook land, bear with us while we make sure we get the mic turned on.
Cassie, you turned the mic off? Okay, back to the priorities and goals along the Highway 71 corridor. There is so much potential for growth along the Highway 71 corridor. We are perfectly situated along the highway there. It is my intention to work with investors who would bring a hotel with a conference room to this area. Here in Smithville, there is no place for people to stay who come to our town to take part in our many activities. Visit Busher State Park. Fly into our only airport in Bastrop County. Take part in the Colorado River activities. To visit family and friends. I have a big family, and my son married a young lady from London, England. Her whole family wants to come here. She's a family of 6. There's nowhere for them to stay. And my house isn't that big, so it's very important to find a hotel. I would also like to work with investors to bring some fast food restaurants along the Highway 71 for the people passing through and the school students who are active in activities that run late, and there is no place for them to eat after 10 o'clock at night because we roll the streets up here in Smithville. So there are many possibilities that I would like to see happen, and I would love to work with investors who have the same dreams as we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Tom, you're up.
Is it good?
Yeah.
All right. Consistent with my commitment to find the right balance between growth and preservation, I'm a strong advocate for development along 71. I oftentimes tell people that Smithville endured 2 fairly devastating economic events in the past, one being when the train or the railroad left, and the second when the bypass was built. Ironically, the latter, I believe, might turn out to be a positive in the end, as we can perhaps foster traditional development along 71 while preserving the downtown Main Street area for non-franchise type businesses. I would like to see, if at all possible, land along 71 lie within the city limits. And I agree to some extent with my colleague Sharon, but the first thing we have to do is be able to annex it, to get it inside the city, so we can control it. I believe the airport, as several have noted, it's in the corridor. I think it is probably singularly the biggest economic development asset that we have in our community. I would love to see the runway extended to 5,000 feet. I know Robert's working on that. I think there's some challenges, but they're just monetary challenges that I think we can meet, and I hope that we will address that very soon. In summary, the priorities for me: secure land use control over the corridor, lengthen the runway to 5,000 at the airport, and let's promote some development along there, at the same time preserving the small businesses downtown.
All right, thank you, Tom. All right, so for this question, school board, we'll start with you, Josh. So as you work your way up, the question is going to be, what are your thoughts on ways teacher pay can be prioritized over other priorities in the school district budget?
Well, today I am CEO for an insurance company and COO for 2 other insurance companies, and so I have a lot of experience in finance and financial services. But before this, before we moved to Texas, I was a public finance banker. I worked with school boards and superintendents, as I said at the start, and so I think it's really important that we be specific. We can't give vague words and fuzzy ideas when we address some of these things. Teacher pay is going to take a lot to solve in our district. Teacher pay averages around $53,000, but the starting pay is $43,000. And over 30 years, teachers might expect to increase $15,000. So that's a $500 increase year over year. Inflation, I think they released this morning, was 8%. So we have to address this, but school finance is complex, and we're not going to solve it in 90 seconds. There's the state fund, the state portion, and the local portion. There's maintenance and operating, and there's capital. We need to look at the maintenance operating, see what we can take out of that portion of the budget, and put it over into the longer term capital funding, because we can't move that capital funding out of that side of the budget. We have to look at deferred maintenance issues, technology, HVAC repair, energy retrofits. What can we do to move those to the capital side and pay for those out of longer term financing sources so that we free up dollars in today's cash flow for our teachers? Because that's what it's going to take. We have to be precise, we have to be surgical. We can't just say we're going to do this and not have a solution for it. Thank you.
Josh, Margarita will pose the same question to you.
I will not approve a budget that does not deliver a 10% increase in our teacher's salary because we must retain well-qualified teachers.
Thank you, Margarita. Casey, we'll have you take this question now. So what are your thoughts on ways teacher pay can be prioritized over other priorities in the school district budget?
Well, it's kind of like Josh said. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, and a lot of studies would have to be put into it, but I believe that however it has to be done, we have to raise the teacher's pay in Smithville in order to retain not only full staff teachers, but also be able to get substitute teachers that are going to come more than once. I mean, I've talked to some of the substitute teachers. They come once, twice, 3 times, and they're gone. I talked to a lady here in town. She's retiring age. She's retired. She substitutes. I asked her point blank, what would keep people here? She said pay. Has to be pay. Has to go up. Somehow. Whether it come out of M&O, like Josh said, or we figured out a different way to get it from a different part of the budget, or we ask the state how we can get more money so that we can retain teachers to get our academics to where they really need to be. Thank you.
All right, Michael, same question, please.
Well, I agree with a lot of what Josh said, a lot of what Casey said. At my time at TASBO, I got to work with Omar Garcia, who is basically the financial guru at Texas Education Agency. And he runs basically all of his calculations through an advanced Excel spreadsheet. It's very complex. It's very complex, and it's not something that you can just increase salary overnight. You do have to put together a finance plan. You have to make an action plan, and you do have to take time over years. I do agree that over 15 years, a $10,000 increase is just unacceptable, and we've got to do better. Teachers aren't able to put into the retirement because of salary, so we've got to continue working on to increase that and take opportunities to improve their pay.
And before we have Cassie come up, I will remind everybody that April 25th is early voting and regular voting is May 7th, in case y'all didn't know. So our second question for our city council candidates: what are your thoughts on prioritizing infrastructure updates, particularly drainage throughout Smithville, from residential neighborhoods to the commercial district?
All right, so this is a loaded question for those of you that have been around a long time, and that obviously we know that this is a big part of our, one of our issues here in Smithville. There's no doubt that our citizens are one of the biggest parts of our town and what bring the most heart to our community. But I can tell you that our commercial district and our Main Street businesses are a very close second to that. These people are most of them are local business owners here in town. They bring their livelihood here and they've put their heart and soul into making these businesses the way that it is. One of the things that stops them is when there's any kind of a hard rain, it floods most of those locations downtown, and then they have to stop their business as well as their employees, and their livelihood is stuck. I can tell you that obviously there is a big project that's about to start around May 1st. For those of you that don't know, it starts at Highway 95 on 2nd Street, goes across to Ramona. That is about $885,000 of money that's been coming in and that we've been going for since Hurricane Harvey, that's 5 years ago. And it's taken this long of a process to even get there. And I think that sometimes it's hard for people to understand that, which brought me back to making sure that if you just talk with us as city council, as a mayor, that they'll be able to tell you those things. With that being said, that's just, we need to make sure that we do that, but you have to know that with that need, it comes time, it comes patience, and I promise that everybody's doing everything to get that done.
Thank you, Cassie. All right, Dan, we have the same question for you. What are your thoughts on prioritizing infrastructure updates, particularly drainage, throughout Smithville?
Infrastructure updates are quite the priority, and I definitely agree with Cassie. She has quite the experience in this note. It's something that's going to have to be focused on, looked into, but at the same time diagnosed to find the best, proper way to proceed. I mean, engineers just focus more than anything else. It's definitely a priority, and it's something we have to pay attention to. Thank you.
Okay, so you guys were really good on y'all's time, so I'm going to do something extra special for you. Everybody had 2 minutes in closing remarks. We're actually going to bump that up to 3 minutes. So if you would like to use your whole 3 minutes of closing remarks, we will just go straight down the line for the closing remark. Actually, we're going to switch it up. Since you got to go first to open, we'll let you go first to close. That sound good, Sharon? You good with that? All right. Well, let's go. Thank you.
Smithville is becoming a big, small town. It's located between two large cities. Many folks travel between Austin and Houston, take the detour into town, and fall in love with our town. My family, along with many lifelong Smithvillians, helped mold and create this town. I grew up here, and I have enjoyed watching our community grow. Growth is not just coming our way, it has arrived. We have seen our city budget grow over the last 3 years, along with the growth of our business community, and along with it, the need for larger infrastructure investments. I want to keep the Smithville small town feel and charm, and as your mayor, I will help lead the charge to work with the other city council members, the Smithville Area Chamber of Commerce, the police department, the employees of the city, the citizens of Smithville, and the many other organizations in this town. I will stay active in community engagement and help Smithville stay on path to manage the growth. Thank you.
Yep, you're up, Tom. Thank you. Closing statements.
I'm honored and excited to be a candidate for mayor. I believe I have the skills, the work ethic, and the commitment to be effective in the position. With the seemingly never-ending economic expansion of Central Texas towards Smithville, growth is definitely coming. Experienced leadership will be needed to successfully prepare for and navigate these challenges. I'm committed to finding the right balance between growth and preservation so current and future generations will enjoy the quality of life that we all want and deserve. While not an exhaustive list, I believe there are 5 key priorities worthy of attention. 1, we need to support our local businesses. We need to foster economic development, which includes a balanced approach to housing. And by balanced, I mean all price points, not just affordable and not just high end. Be smart about our growth policies. When we look at ordinances, let's make sure we put them in place to incent the behavior that we all say we want. Let's protect our neighborhoods, both residential and commercial. Main Street is a neighborhood, it's just a commercial neighborhood. And to continue to invest in and support our city employees. In addition to those priorities, I think there's 2 unique, strategically critical initiatives that I think are going to require immediate attention and we'll be dealing with in the next couple of years. One is preparation and/or consideration of home rule governance once we get to 5,000 population. That is an extremely, extremely critical strategic event that we all need to become educated on. Sharon talked about control of the 71 corridor and development, and I couldn't agree more, but we do not have the ability to do that if we do not have the ability to annex property. So when we get to 5,000 population, we need to start thinking about a home rule governance with a charter. The second is succession planning for our city manager. Robert's been a great city manager, but it's, I don't think, a secret that he's talked about retiring in the next 1 to 2 years. He's done a monumental job, and that's going to be a position that's hard to replace. It's going to take some time, and it's going to be a process. In conclusion, I take seriously the responsibility, and quite honestly, in fact, it's a privilege to serve as an at-large representative. That means for the entire city of Smithville. I enjoy time spent actively engaged in the entire community, being a ready listener, imagining new possibilities for the community and the citizens, staying focused on the many number of things that we have in common rather than the very few that we might have that are different and divide us. I'm committed to consensus building, collaboration, community engagement. I'm excited about the opportunities and the possibilities that lie ahead of us. I welcome and ask for your support and participation in the pursuit of those. And regardless of the outcome, I intend to support the mayor and the council and the city in every way I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom and Sharon. They also wanted me to remind y'all that April 25th is early voting and May 7th is regular voting. All right, so next, actually, Josh, we're going to go with you this time. Closing statement, please, and then Marguerite, you will follow. 3 minutes.
When does early voting start?
April 25th. Thank you.
So the important thing, I think, in what I bring to the school board is on day one I walk in and I'm prepared. I have done this sort of work for a living. I've worked with school boards on projects that are transformational in their communities, all sorts of rural school districts. And the importance is casting a vision, building support for a shared vision, and bringing those dissenting voices to the table. Because if we don't do that, we're going to have a lot of people, a lot of squeaky wheels out there who have never come to a school board meeting, who have never talked to a school board member. I have 3 kids. Every decision that I'm a part of on the school board will ripple throughout their education. So if you don't think I take this seriously, think again, because at 14, 11, and 6, these kids have a lot of education ahead of them. I want to make sure that it's the best possible school district that they can attend. That's why we moved here. We thought highly of the Smithville School District, especially because the year that Smithville passed a bond was right before we moved here. Bastrop didn't. And so that told me that Smithville understands education. Smithville understands what it means to invest in the community. Earlier I said this is the biggest investment we all make. I want to make sure that community members understand exactly what it is they're investing in. So while I agree that the school board does a good job putting the information online, webcasting, I think that it's going to be important for school board members to be out in the community. I will be when I coach, so I'll have a lot of opportunity to talk to parents and community members. But I also think, you know, one of the things that perhaps people want to do sometimes is just vent, and they can't do that at a school board meeting. They show up and they don't understand. There's an agenda, and legally the school board can't deviate from that, right? They have to stick to the agenda, so public comments go unaddressed by the school board. And a lot of times that frustrates people. And so I think one of the things that we could do as a school board is have forums where, you know, if you want, and I was told I might be the only school board member to do it, but yell at your school board member, right? Show up, talk about what it is that really you have a beef with, and let us interact in a way that is meaningful so that people understand we care about this stuff. We're not giving short shrift to anything that's going on. For me, the key thing is, sort of as I've done throughout my business career, I want to equip my teams with the best resources and the best means to succeed. So as a CEO, that means give my teams resources, make sure they have what they need, and then hold them accountable. So just like we talked about earlier, giving the teachers the resources and the amount of teachers that we need so that we don't overload them and turn into herd management is going to be important. We also have to have results. So we need to make sure that we're looking at those things and then communicating back to the public. I will not quit in this job. Every day, every time I step into a school board meeting and workshop, I will not quit. So whether it's FCA on a Friday morning and making sure I show up with 5 dozen donuts, or it's picking apart the school budget, I'm going to show up every day. Thank you.
Margarita?
We all hear in the news about all the negative changes that are happening in our public education system all across the country. I want to ensure that Smithville ISD focuses on academics and prevents any anti-American teachings or propaganda from getting into our classrooms and poisoning our children's minds. We must do this in order to protect our children because they are the future of our country. And I think we all know that education in this country is in trouble. I think that we all need to unite and we all need to protect education. This is a great country. Education should be great in this country. For our children. We have to do it. We have to care for our children. Now let me just share this with you. America is good because God is good. This is Holy Week. We will celebrate the crucifixion, death, and resurrection of the Son of God. I invite everyone to reflect on His sacrifice for you, for your children, and let's invite God back into our schools. Thank you so much for your time. Please vote Margaritaigo.
Thank you, Margarita. Casey, we'll have your closing statements now.
I agree with Marguerite. I believe that we need to get the Bibles back into school, Christ back into school. I think that we need to start pushing Fellowship of Christian Athletes more back in the high schools these days and get kids more involved and working together and creating them to be leaders and team members and working, with each other and pushing each other to be the best. I would like to see, like I said earlier, that the teacher pay increase to be able to retain teachers. And I would also like to see more people and community involvement in the school board meetings. At the board meetings I've been to in person, there may be 3, 4, 5 people there, and that's it. I would like to see a lot more community involvement in the school board meetings so more people know what is going on in the community and where they can help and we all can help to get our kids in education back to where it needs to be so that when our kids get out into the real world, they know what is fixing to hit them in the face with reality. And if we're going to start some of these programs like with Doug's Plumbing and the culinary school as far as classes like that, I think that the kids should be able to be involved immediately into those classes, not just the community, and then wait where the kids have to come the following year or the year after. If you're going to start something that's going to be held at the school, those students need to be able to go the very first day that it's open to them. Thank you all for coming. Vote for Casey Ainsley.
Casey. And Michael will have your closing statement.
First, thank you, April, Chamber, Micah, for moderating this forum and allowing all of us to get to know the community or the community get to know us. No doubt the last 2 years have been challenging in many aspects, but with challenge comes opportunity. I believe there's plenty of good opportunity out there. I believe in challenging the status quo in every area and creating the greatest common good for the greatest number of people, and not just one area, but the whole district as a whole. from academics to athletics to UIL competitions, band competitions, and many other things. It's through this that we can create a great environment for our students, for our teachers, but with that, we'll need the community support along the way. And just wanted to let everybody know today too that a lot of great things going on. Was at the district track meet in Giddings today, and don't know how long it's been, but Smithville won district at the track meet today for the first time in several years. So a lot of great opportunities, not just in sports, but all around. So thank you, and thank you for putting this on.
Thank you, school board candidates. And as always, April 25th is early voting at the Rec Center, not City Hall. Early voting is at the Rec Center, and May 7th is regular voting. And Cassie will have your closing statement. Thank you.
I would like to thank April, the chamber, Micah as well, for putting this on. I want to make sure that I address a couple things. I'm lucky that I was able to be on city council a few years ago. I was able to get that experience, and I was able to continue with the bug and have my husband and me decide that this was another area that I can step into and try to run again. I'm excited to be able to try to be a part of this community again, whether or not whichever way it goes, I still will be here. I've been lucky that I've been able to meet tons of people from my past. I've continued to meet people the last couple years. My son is a kindergartner. I know a bunch of different school board members. I have been a part of that. I think that it's exciting that our town is this little big town. I think it's something that the chamber says all the time. We're little, but we're big, right? The growth is coming. It's always going to be coming. I think that part of the excitement is being able to be part of that and be able to address it with the people that don't understand or don't get to hear everything, because you have your normal working business days, you have your normal lives just going on, right? And our job as candidates up here, as people that are actually on the boards right now and on the councils right now and part of the part of the city management, is to be able to explain that kind of stuff to you and to be able to be out there inside in front of you guys. So I urge you guys to ask the questions, to be present, to make sure that you hold us accountable to the job that we're volunteering for. With that being said, I also want to make sure that that word is very clear. We're volunteering for this position because we love this town, because we want to be a part of it. We want to make sure that we're helping with the growth and the positive growth and the positivity that's happening. So again, thank you for everybody coming that's here. We have a full crowd here. Thank you for everybody on social media. Hello. And please make sure you come out and vote, and you ask us questions if you need it beforehand. If you have any questions about what we do stand for and you haven't been able to hear enough here. Thanks.
And Dane will have your closing statement.
By the way, early voting is April 25th.
Thank you.
May 7th, regular voting, correct, Micah?
That's right. But no bonus points, but thank you.
Okay, we're there. In closing, I have two goals moving forward. I believe you should be a resident of Smithville, Texas for a minimum of 5 years before running for city council or mayor. We need to first understand what we stand for and who we are. Before representing our city, we need to preserve the natural beauty of Smithville. It is by far one of our most attractive features. So many folks are interested in moving to Smithville to get away from that big city. Meanwhile, there's potential leaders who want to retain that big city in Smithville. Focusing on this growth as well, neighborhoods need cul-de-sacs or streets when being designed or built, not just homes smushed together to benefit a builder's wallet. Buses need areas to drop off children safely. Safety should always be a priority during this growth. But most importantly, we must protect our community in this growth. The destination of success seems like such a long road ahead, but getting started is the only challenge we truly face. My focus is on 78957. I'm Dane Garrison. I'm running for City Council, Place 4.
Thank you, Dane. So one last time, let's give all of our candidates a big round of applause. Thank you so much, guys, for doing this. Something I'd like to remind everybody, and Cassie pointed out, that none of these folks have to be here. They choose to be here because they believe it's what's good for Smithville. So what you can do to reward them for their choices is go vote. That's all you have to do. And if you didn't know it, it's April 25th for early voting at the Rec Center, or May 7th for regular voting. But please, go vote, let your voices be heard for the betterment of Smithville, and thank you all for being here. And with that, we will leave you all. Good night.
I don't have to stop this.